How y'all doing? My name is Charles Kelly, coming to you on May 1st, 2017. I really just want to put the year in perspective, like a review, look to see how tax season went, um, basically addressing some of the issues or the things that came up, as well as addressing the great parts. It's just a full analysis of everything that's been going on. So as you guys know, I left BNSF, my corporation that I worked for, in July of 2016, and I left with the vision of helping people out, educating them on not just taxes, but financial status in general, whether it's investing, whether it's your taxes, whether it's budgeting, anything of that nature. Because I'm noticing there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of alternative facts. There's a lot of stuff going out there that just isn't true. So first, I would like to address my business. So after I left, I linked up with EA Tax Pros, and it was a huge success. It was a lot bigger than I expected. It was a lot bigger than I prepared for, which is a blessing. So we're doing really, really well. But with that comes challenges. When you are your own business and you don't necessarily have the full team there. A lot of that is done from the ground up. We went to different houses, we went to different businesses, trying to educate, trying to better understand the company. And this is a lot different than you would get at like a tax service type of company, because most tax service companies, you come in once a year during tax season, and you pay a certain amount and then it's done. It's a quick, seamless process, but that's not always in the best. That's not always what's best for the client. Although there's a lot of confusion about that. So one of the biggest things I've learned this year is that there are four types of clients. I look back at my clients. We talk to our clients afterwards to see how well we've been doing, and I would say we had about a 70 to 75% approval rating, where it was like, we love you guys are doing awesome. We want to keep this going forward. Done, stamped, sealed. We did awesome. So that's great. 70% isn't bad. But those who know me know I'm a perfectionist. We also have about 20 to 25% who are completely confused. They are people that are, I would guess most of them are used to the tax service side and not on the full accounting side to it. So they're completely confused. Most of them are they're just going with the flow, because they are trusting us and they're happy, with what we've been able to do in the community. So we want to make sure that we take care of those 20 to 25%, make them not confused. But we also had about 5 to 10% that were just like, we will never work with you again, and we hate you guys. And because I'm marketed mainly on Facebook this year, a lot of these people are the people I'm closest with. And so I somewhat took that personal this year, and I'm realizing you can't take things personal when you're dealing with business. So that's a learning step for me. But today I would like to address the four different types of clients that we mainly work with, and then maybe you'll be able to figure out which client you are, and then we can go from there. So the first type of client is the client who's been audited. They have a big monkey on their back. The IRS is making them pay, five figures worth of back taxes. They're owing penalties. They're owing fees. They're in a lot of trouble. Some of them may be facing, possible jail time. Some of them, have this huge monkey on their back because they owe so much money. They're in so far debt. And these are the people that come to us, and we work with them. And many times we're able to get this monkey off their back completely. Many times, they're under, they're in deep water because of something small, something minute. So for instance, I will never say names because that's proprietary information. But one of our clients was in a situation where they had a hurricane, and a hurricane hit their house, and they lost. They still own their house, but they can no longer live in it because the roof is gone. Well, if the roof is gone in the house, they couldn't pay it, And so they talked to the bank, and the bank said, "Well, we understand you. We'll forgive the additional that you the additional amount that you owe on your mortgage. We'll just forgive it, and you can move somewhere else." And they were ecstatic because they're like, "Cool." They're not getting sued or anything like that for not being able to pay their mortgage. It's not really affecting their credit. It's been forgiven. So they move into their apartment thinking nothing is going on. A few years later, the IRS is contacting them because they're saying, well, you didn't report this debt forgiveness onto your income taxes. They had gone to a tax service company where they're used to getting it done really, really quickly, and that was something that was not mentioned in that quick exchange. And so they wound up owing, I believe it was way over five figures worth of debt to the IRS. Now, in a situation like that, if they had come to, an accounting firm, we would have explained, well, yes, you have to report that as income, but on the opposite end of that, there's something called a casualty loss, where if it's due to, an act of God or whatnot, you can write that off. And so the debt forgiveness would have also been offset by the casualty loss, and they wouldn't have to have owed pretty much anything, or something really, really small, or they may have got a small refund. Either way, they wouldn't have been in five figures worth of debt. And so what we do is now we go back to those prior years, we amend those years, and now instead of them being in the hole, five figures, now because they've already paid some of that, now they're going to be getting a lot of money back. And so these people are ecstatic. They love us because we got the monkey off their back, and now they're living comfortably. They now understand where they're going, and these are clients that we have for life. It's a family. This is not like a one-time thing. So we're really good on that side. We also have the second group of people, which is business owners. Some of these business owners are familiar with the process. They already know. The majority of them, they contact us in the beginning of January, and they're saying, let's make an extension because, I'm not ready to pay anything, and we just want to get this filed. These are mainly small businesses where they just want the extension, and then we work with them throughout the year. One of the things that we do for business clients is we keep their books, so their income statement, their balance sheet, understanding their cash flows. And so it's really not a tax season type of ordeal. It's throughout the year. Tax season is the absolute worst time. It is the worst time to get to know clients and to understand their situations, because we're very, very busy. They're very, very busy. So on the business side, a lot of times we're just filing extensions, or if we already been working with them throughout the year, then we're able to file the taxes, whenever the client feels comfortable. But most small businesses, they're already cognizant of the tax situation. The third group of people that we have are people that are very near and dear to me. A lot of these people are people who are literally just trusting us out of, they're just coming to us out of full trust, and they see that I've been providing knowledge to the community, that I'm providing facts, and they're not really sure on the process at all, and they are just trusting us in full. And I appreciate these people very, 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 very much so, because one, school doesn't teach you about taxes. They don't teach you about budgeting. The majority of schools I've talked to, or I've been to, or the clients I've talked to, never was taught taxes. They were never taught budgeting. They were never taught financial planning. They weren't taught any of these things. They weren't taught how to keep a checkbook. So if they're not doing account reconciliations, they're not taught credit. None of these things are taught in high school. These things, even if you have a degree, most of it's not taught in college. And even when you get a job, a lot of these jobs that you're getting, they're not even teaching you these basic tools. BNSF, they were a great company. They actually they taught all of us about financial planning. They taught us about budgeting. They taught us about home buying. They taught us about credit. They taught us about, different savings accounts where you can put your money in different accounts for different reasons. Things I'm going to get through later on. But a lot of people just don't know. And they see that we know, and they're trusting us. And so these are the people I really want to educate the most, the people I want to assist with the most, because the majority of them were going to these tax service companies, and their taxes weren't done, necessarily correct, or it wasn't done to their benefit, and or they were getting overly charged, astronomical amounts. And so a lot of these people, they're under the assumption that the more money that you pay somebody, the bigger your refund is supposed to be. When in reality, it doesn't quite work like that. Your tax liability to the IRS is your tax liability to the IRS. And during tax season, it's really just looking at the prior year, but the prior year is already done. So tax season is really just putting the year in review and saying, well, this is how much you owe. This is how much that you're going to get back. It's not necessarily, based off of, well, how hard can you work for me? It's really not like that. The how hard can you work for me is truly done throughout the year. So one of my goals is that by October of 2017, that all the clients that we've been working with this year, any businesses, anybody that we're meeting up with on a consistent basis, we want to understand your financial situation by October of this year, so that we could then be able to, tell you, well, this is how much money you have for Christmas. This is how much money you should get if you want a big refund next year. We can give you the power. We don't want to control your money. We want you to be able to control your money. We just want to educate you so that you can make those decisions. So that's one of the addresses I want to talk to for people that are fully trusting us. And then on the fourth side, we have the side where they're not necessarily the most honest clients. And this is something where we have to watch our personal liability, because if somebody's coming to us with fraudulent papers, or they're giving us, bad information that's not true, we don't want to work with any clients that are providing us bad information, or they're trying to, pull a fast one off over us. And with that being said, Andre is an enrolled agent, so we are able to represent our clients in court, but we do go based off of the information that you provide us. If you provide us, incorrect information or fraudulent information, then that is solely based off of you. You are now held liable. We're not held liable to that because you provided us wrong information. We don't have time to go through every single one of our clients and make sure every single receipt is a legitimate receipt and things of that nature. And we're not required to whatsoever to do that unless, we feel as though it is wrong, then we might look at it. But overall, if you pull a fast one off over us, then that's really going to hurt you in the long run. So those are the 4 different type of clients. Now I would like to do like a review to, remember I said we had about 70 to 75% of people were A-okay. We had about 20 to 25% of people who were confused. And we had about 5 to 10% of people who were just like, we're never working with you again. What I would have liked to talk to is a lot of people who we reviewed, and the biggest issue that came up was time. Even some of the people who were A-okay, who loved us to death, they're saying that the timing wasn't necessarily perfect. And there's 2 reasons to that. One is, if you are accustomed to a tax service type of company, you've really been done an injustice in terms of quality. And it's not a knock to these tax service companies, because a lot of them, they make a lot of money. But just to explain it to you is that, so for instance, you have a big company, they're advertising on TV, they are, they're filling you up with images of their tax service, but you only go to them once a year. And you typically go to them once a year after your taxes are done, or after your year is done. So there's only so much that they can do. And a lot of times, the people who are the most uninformed about how the situations work, they get charged a whole lot more. And they also get a bigger refund, because a lot of those people aren't making, the extreme amounts of money that maybe a business may be making. Your tax liability is your tax liability. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be working with you individually. throughout the entire year so that next year your refund is bigger. It takes time because we are trying to get to know your financial situation and we're trying to plan. Like I said, during tax season is probably the worst season to get to know people. So for that timing, if you're used to getting your taxes done within a day, maybe 2 days, maybe a few hours, that would not work for an accounting firm who's just getting to know you because we're trying to understand your situation for long term. This isn't a one time a year type of ordeal. This is an ongoing relationship where we are working with you throughout the year. The second part to the timing aspect is is on our end. Like I said, we had a lot of clients this year. It was a lot bigger than I expected, which is a good thing, but that also presents the challenge of trying to execute these taxes as quick as possible. Um, and so for that, I feel like I didn't set the correct expectation on a lot of those because I was not prepared for the amount of clientele, and that's at no fault to the client themselves. That's purely based off of my expectations, and so for that, I would actually apologize because maybe I did not thoroughly, explain it, or I didn't set the correct expectations with when of these things would be done. Everybody that we did was taken care of by the deadline, so nobody's in hot water whatsoever. But there were people that were expecting it, within a week. Some people were expecting their refunds back within 2 weeks, and some people were expecting it within a day or two. And so, depending on what type of client they were, depending on what type of expectations that they were expecting, that may have not have been set. So for that, once again, I do apologize. But next year it'll be a lot better because now we know your financial situation. We're empowering you to be able to make financial, decisions, tax conscious decisions, so that you will be good going forward. As well as next year, we already have your information. So to be able to execute your taxes next year is going to be a lot quicker because we already know the information. We can get it done as soon as you get the information to us, and we might be able to provide you a lot better estimate because we understand your full financial situation. The second main issue that we came across this year was estimates. Now, understand that taxes, every single question that I may ask is either to A, keep you out of, you know, keep you out of having a liability to the IRS or possibly being audited, or if you did get audited, bringing up a red flag. So for you, is most time is to protect you, but it's also a lot of times to possibly find avenues that you didn't realize that you were owed money prior years. So sorry, let me drink some water. So from a perspective of from estimates, it's very difficult to give an estimate because every type of tax question that I ask you may completely change your liability completely. I mean, literally one question can go from somebody owing 2,000 to getting a refund back of 2,000, and or vice versa. They didn't have any health insurance, whatsoever for them and their 10 kids or whatnot, and so they are legally liable to pay these taxes. I don't make the rules. We're just following through on them. And so I felt like, and I'll take full responsibility on it. When it comes to estimates, people will people who don't understand how the situation will work, they feel as though it's a negotiation, and they're saying, well, if you give me back, $5,000, I'll pay you, $250. It doesn't work like that on the accounting firm side. Maybe on a tax service where they're not really compliant with all the rules or they're bending the rules or whatnot, which can lend you into deep water, and then you'll be contacting us after the IRS gets you. But the way it really goes is you make these tax conscious decisions the year before, and then you get your refund back the next year, and or you're keeping the perfect amount of liability throughout the year, And so you don't get anything back. You don't owe anything the next year. Because technically, when you're getting a refund, you are actually giving the IRS or the government a tax-free loan throughout the year, and they're just holding your money that really should be yours. Um, so for estimates, there were a few. It wasn't too many, but it was a few people that I did provide an estimate for that wound up being off. And providing false hope to anybody is that's kind of cruel. So from an execution perspective, those few people that I provided an incorrect estimate for, I do apologize. Your taxes were completely taken care of in terms of being compliant with the IRS because we do a very thorough, analysis of it. If I'm doing it, it goes to a reviewer, and then a lot of times then it'll come back to me. We'll talk, we'll ask you additional questions or whatnot, and it's a full out basically financial interview in terms of how to get it done. And so every question can change your liability. And so I will never be providing estimates going forward until we have concrete evidence of where it's going to be at. And even then with an estimate, it's going to be a range. It won't be an exact number. And being that this is my first year of really going out there, those few estimates that I provide that were incorrect, I would just like to apologize on that. Now, with that being said, the next big thing that we have on our plate is going to be on May 20th. We will be providing a financial seminar to all of our clients, any prospective clients, any clients that were interested, any of the businesses that we're working with, any of the nonprofits I'm a part of. I work with the Trouble Movement. I'm on the board of that, as well as any other small businesses, anybody else who is interested as of right now. We'll be providing a seminar so that you guys will now know a little bit more about how to make tax conscious decisions throughout the year, so that you can maximize your dollar and keep it. So be prepared for that. May 20th, I'm going to put that as an event. I will be inviting you guys. So if you are interested in that, please come to that. If you aren't able to attend, we'll also be having it on video so that then you can watch it online. The seminars are going to be a lot more interactive. These type of videos I do mainly just for information. These aren't really entertaining videos. These are just for people who are following me throughout the year. But we also have some entertaining seminars coming as well. So just be on the lookout. We have a lot of things going forward. I want to make sure that we educate people as much as possible. We want to empower them to be able to take care of their own finances in the best way possible. And now the journey begins for next year. Tax season is over. Now it's time to prepare for next year. So if you have any information, please give me a call. Please give me a text. Reach out to me on my Facebook page. We're very attentive to that. So with that being said, hope you guys have a good night and enjoy your week. Take care.